now.
Hello, happy Halloween, everybody. It is Aaron, it's Jason. We're here with the Week 8 recap of the SoonerNation Fantasy Football League. Jason, do you have any Halloween plans?
My little girl is a fifth grader, and so we've come to the point where this may be the last, like, Dad, I'm going trick-or-treating. So pretty
Ooh,
pumped to go
yeah,
trick-or-treating.
make the most.
Yeah, yeah.
Make the
What about
most of
you?
that for sure.
What about you?
Uh, well, Aspen is 12, soon to be 13. She does no longer require my assistance. I told her I was available, and that was it. That was the end of it.
Man,
So I'll be passing out candy. Yeah, that's fine. We'll have a
it's
good
great.
time.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. I think we've got some housekeeping to do
Yeah,
from 2 weeks
sorry, a
ago.
little housekeeping. We forgot to mention on last week's show the winner of John versus True John versus Shane. John won. He gets to coach the Edmond Bulldogs on December 12th against US Grant. So I'm planning on going. I hope everybody in the league tries to does what they can to attend. I think it's going to be a real special night. Can't wait
Fantastic.
to see what kind of plays John has drawn up.
Yeah, that's Tuesday night, so I can't wait. I don't know if Shane has like a whistle or like what anything we should make sure that he has like to be successful on the sideline.
Oh yeah, like a special trinket of some kind.
Yeah,
Draws
uh,
his power. Yeah.
it's gonna be great. So
Yeah.
congratulations to John on that big win, and we wanted to make sure that we covered that. It's gonna be a very special night, December 12th, Tuesday night. Mark it on your calendars, everybody. So
Yeah. Yeah. Let's pack the house.
yeah, and then we our next slide has to do with your weekend. So I want to
Ooh.
know.
Yes.
I want to know how the weekend was. We had so many players attending live NFL games. So, my goodness, what a game you saw. Tell us about
Yeah.
this. And you may have some commentary on your partners the last few weeks watching football games with them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Thanks. So here we are at the Cowboys game. I'm sure you guys know the Cowboys just annihilated the Rams. At one point, the score was 33-3, which I've never been at a game where one team had 11 times more points than the other one. So that was special. Uh, I've now been to two NFL games this season, and both games had a safety, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
Uh, yeah, we had a defensive just annihilation out there.
Picks
At
was
the
the
at
bland was the early bland pick six right there in your touchdown.
No, unfortunately, everything was on the other end of the field.
Okay.
We
Okay.
would have had amazing seats for all of it, but instead we were like, oh yeah, that was cool. Uh, halftime was pretty special. They inducted Demarcus Ware into the Ring of Honor there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when Jerry Jones was introduced, the crowd booed, and it kind of rattled him a little bit. And then he proceeded to introduce Demarcus Lawrence. Uh, and then he had to collect himself and say, "Oh wait, Demarcus Ware is the one being admitted today." So that was kind of fun, little blooper we got to see being there live. And so at this week's game, it was Chris and I, and then Chris's son Caden was with us. And then a few weeks ago, it was Chris and I and Josh was at the game. So I started thinking like, who's the better wingman at a football game? You know, both guys will absolutely walk up to anybody and start having a conversation about anything for any reason. So that's a wash. Both guys are happy to wear a jersey. I love seeing all the jerseys at games, so that's great. Both guys bring a lot of enthusiasm. That's kind of something they both share. Um, I guess the edge is one of them is so picky. Like if he gets a sliver of an onion on a burger, he'll never go back to that restaurant again. And and the other one will 100% he will slurp up candy off the stadium floor if he's had enough Bud Light. So slight edge, but I'm going to give Josh the wingman award. But boy, Caden put up a good fight. Caden, he's so polite. He was not a problem, but I guess I got to go with Reese. Just barely. Yeah.
I'm trying to secure the picture with Caden for the show. I'll see if I can do it. That was a it was a that was a very well done comparison, contrast, pros and cons list, if you
Yes.
will.
Yeah.
Tremendous job. For
I
those
put a
who
lot of thought into that.
for those who don't know, how old is Caden now? Because kids grow up. That's one thing I've noticed about my own kids. Is like, boy, that just comes at you fast.
Yeah, I think 17, 18. No, I think he's 13. No,
13?
no, he's older than that. 14. Jeez,
Wow.
who knows? I was just with him. Who knows?
Well,
There he is. What
here's
does
a
that look
picture
like? I
that
don't know.
we have
Probably 14.
I have no idea. Yeah, I think
He's
he's
about to drive. He could drive us home probably. I don't know.
man. How did your jerseys go over with the jerseys that you wore? And what was the best jersey that you saw in the stadium?
Well, I'm always tickled when you see like the random, like, why is this guy wearing a Joe Montana jersey here at the Rams Cowboys game? You know, it just
Yeah.
that kind of stuff amuses me. Now Chris and I always wear the same two jerseys. He wears the 48 Moose Johnson, and I wear the 22 Emmitt Smith, and he blocks the way for me through the crowd, and that's kind of our thing. But well, he wore his jacket this time, so the gimmick did not work through the crowd. But it's still great. It's great to see.
Well, your wingman wears 88, which I loved. I like
Yeah.
that he's CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee had quite the game.
Somehow, every time Chris goes to the game, CeeDee Lamb goes off. I think he's 3 for 3 now, with Lamb just having monster games. In fact, I had it in my notes. I was going to recommend if the team that has CeeDee Lamb on them, the owner of that team, it might behoove them to gift Chris season tickets. Just wants him at as many Cowboys games as possible to get all those Lamb boosts. I think it's something they should consider. Maybe 3 tickets.
You could pick the 3 home games for CD that maybe Chris could go to. Maybe send Chris to those games.
Yeah, I think just to get that edge.
That's a great idea. That's the kind of stuff that our league looks is why we're a successful league. So you want to run down the games this week, because we had some good ones. We had some good games. We got one of the best weeks of the season, I thought. Although not for the leaders of this YouTube show, but let's
no.
Yeah.
Lucky we're up here.
Yeah.
Sticking with Chris, man, takes down Chad 95-86. Chris finally gets the Dak Prescott game that he dreamt of when he traded for him in the offseason. It started off real ugly for Dak too. I don't know if you saw that game, but he got sacked like 4 times on the first 5 plays. It was gross. And then just all of a sudden he just started hitting guys. Well, not guys. Lamb. Dak was running well. He was throwing well. I don't know. Josh Jacobs for Chris, he's getting points, but man, that is like hard. That's grinding yards. Nothing is coming easy. That Raider offense is just gross. Chris has Myers. Tight end continues to be a dead zone for Mahoney. Just another, a tight end for him. Chad gets a great farewell game from Kirk Cousins. Just major blow for the Rompers.
Yeah.
They seemed deep at quarterback just a few days ago, and now he's out with the Achilles. Matt Stafford has the sprained thumb. Desmond Ritter is Desmond Ritter. Look, Chad's in trouble. Look, I know that's rich coming from Mr. 2-6 here, but we just documented his quarterback troubles. Brian Robinson has been really good for him, but I don't like any of his other running backs. His wide receivers don't look nearly as awesome all of a sudden. Devonta Smith was wide open for 2 massive touchdowns, and they just sailed it. I don't know if it's going to get any better if Garoppolo's out. Nico's had a quiet month. I don't know. Maybe Hollywood gets going for Chad when Kyler returns. Outside of Mark Andrews, nobody on the Rompers are ferocious right now. They're the cuddly Rompers.
Cuddly Rompers. Well, he actually changed his team logo this week. We'll get to it for the week 9 preview games. But he changed his logo. I just noticed that when I was screenshotting. There's the pictures for the show, and when he had Adams, Nico, and Jefferson that first month, we were like, how can anybody beat his wide receivers?
Yeah.
And 86 points. I mean, did Mahoney, when Dak threw his 4th touchdown pass, was there a behind the scenes look at how elated Chris had to be in that moment to know that his chance at victory was going to be, that much greater?
Yeah, it really was something. The way the touchdown just kept piling up, and he's there with his boy, and wearing the jersey of the guy that keeps catching the touchdowns. I mean, it was a utopic moment for Chris. It was had to just be the stars aligned, like right then.
It's so great. I'm so glad that Chris went
Yeah,
to a game and had a ton of fun with his players scoring 4 touchdowns. I
yeah,
mean, I don't know how many people in the fantasy football world get to experience that kind of joy live. So congrats
yeah.
to
It's very,
Chris.
very rare.
Yeah, 95 points. Wouldn't have beat some teams that took a loss this week. But we'll get to that in the coming games.
Yeah,
And this is the game I'm talking about. So
yeah.
break it
Thank
down
you.
for us.
Yeah, thanks for that. Just a little extra kick in the nuts for me. Yeah, Russell Sweat Sox take down the Cobras, 134, 129. I don't know, man. Like Josh Allen is every bit as terrifying to play against as Mahomes. He's had a couple down weeks, but his ceiling is as high as anybody. With all due respect to Tyreek Hill, I think AJ Brown's the scariest receiver to go against. He's uncoverable. Jameer Gibbs.
I'm sure everyone's seen the same info, but 6 games to 125 yards at least minimum
Yeah,
is a record for the NFL record.
yeah, he's just stomping people. Jameer Gibbs, like, shame on John and Josh for just giving up on this guy, but he's looking every bit as good as you expect the number 12 pick to be.
Number two pick. Oh no,
Well,
yeah,
I meant overall NFL. Like,
yeah, and in our draft, yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it'll be very
um,
interesting to see how those trades look in 5 years, because my goodness, it had to be excruciating for you to watch Monday Night Football and the post game and just the parades of love around
yeah.
Gibbs.
Well, I mean, I knew I knew I was in trouble going into the game, and then when Gibbs got 8 carries or 8 touches in the first drive, I knew it was over. It's just a matter of time before they're giving him that many touches. You have no chance with just a kicker. So
But you had the first 3 quarters, you were up. You were only
yeah,
didn't lose until the beginning of the fourth, and your
yeah,
kicker just kept piling up points. And there was that
yeah,
drive that Craig Reynolds fumbled it.
yeah.
And like,
That cost.
they didn't score. And it was just like, oh, this maybe he can hold it out. But he had to hold on for one more quarter without a touchdown. When he breaks it off that right side, I mean, just the violins had to just play at that exact instant down at May's place for the Copeland family. But you had
I mean, 31
129
touches.
points.
Yeah,
129 points. That's a lot of points to score and lose in this league.
yeah. Look, I feel like the Cobras are trending in the right direction. Like it does not reflect in my record, my 2-6 record, but look, Dalton Kincaid seems to be becoming the player I dreamed he could be when I drafted him. I love
Yep.
the way they were like scheming plays for him in the end zone. I hope that wasn't just let's get him his first one. I hope that's like every week. Let's keep doing those little shovel passes and all that. Um, Wide receiver 2 is still just like scratching my head. Jahan Dotson finally played like the guy that I made a keeper, but then with Sam Howell, I don't know. I mean, I got to see it at least one more time from Dotson before I can trust it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Joe looked fantastic running the ball. I mean, look at
Joe,
you see the
yeah,
6 rushes for 43 yards, but he had 1 sprint. And I keep thinking when a quarterback sprints who's had a calf injury, he's going to pull up lame. But that dude,
yeah,
you gotta be like the most confident 2-6 team, knowing that 8 teams make the playoffs. That 1 or 2 seed's not going to be very excited to face a 7 and 8 seed Cobra team if they happen to make it into the playoffs.
yeah. I feel that way, but man, the wins have got to start. I mean, what is there? 6 weeks left? 7 weeks? Like, we got to start getting some wins now, or no more time.
Well, congrats
Yeah,
to Shane. We didn't talk about this
yeah,
last game, but we had both of these games both came down to multiple players playing against other teams on Monday night, which is just
yeah.
the dream for a fantasy league. This one with
Oh, it was a big Monday.
Devontae Adams. I was just thinking, all Devontae Adams needs to do is outscore Josh Jacobs. That shouldn't be that hard. And I mean, and I like that both of these teams are now 4-4. And we got a lot of 4-4 teams. We'll get that to the standings, but let's have you break down the big
Yeah,
5-3 versus 3-5. What a game here from Ty God. Let us break it down.
yeah. This is this is Jeff wins a game in which his quarterback scores 48 fewer points than the previous week. And Mahomes' abysmal 18 points is still 4 times what Tyrod delivered to Carr.
You'll notice that I put in the bench quarterbacks here.
Yeah.
On the bottom, just as an added note. The curse of Deshaun Watson continues. Keep it going, Aaron.
It just lives on. Yeah, Eckler turns in his best game since week 1. He looked terrific on that long catch where Justin Herbert just has to throw it a little bit, and then Eckler does all the hard work. Sam Laporta continues to just turn rookie tight end expectations on their rear. Like, he's already so good. Like, is he going to keep getting better? Because, I mean, how much better could he even get? Awesome. Like, I don't know where the sky's the limit with him.
Yeah.
The rest of Jeff's guys, pretty ho-hum, but boy, Jeremy's quarterback woes continue. Like, his skill guys, they got enough done here. When you're the Jets-Giants game with Tyrod Taylor, that was like the real life version of me and Chris in week 1. Like, it was just that ugly. Kamara's rushing has been mediocre, but since David Carr can't throw it more than 5 yards, like, I think Kamara has more receptions than any other running back, and he was suspended for a month. It's insane. And Jeremy left a ton of points on the bench too. Like, there's a lot of configurations that would have given him the win here.
Yeah.
I think he's going to really be kicking himself after this one. This was just he coached himself out of a win here, it looks like. Although you can't really argue with anybody he started, maybe except Tyrod.
Boy, having Ty God in the in there, I didn't go back and look at the the free agent pickups, but got Josh Dobbs sitting right there that he started the previous week.
Yeah.
It's gotta be hard for him this week to just sit there thinking, I get Jeff on a week when he only scores 88 points.
Yeah.
I get 4 points out of my quarterback, and I don't pick up the win. Now, did you see how many passing total yards the Giants had on?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up later, because your quarterback is playing that Jets defense that just gave up -7 passing yards.
-7 total passing yards to an entire offense.
I mean, that is not even in a video game. I've never even done that in Madden. Like, no. That's I don't even know how it's possible.
It's historic. And I think that I even saw on RT Sports, the main page, it was like, hey, we haven't come across this before, so we had to figure out how some scoring if you want to give your team bonus points for this. My goodness, terrifying. Let's keep going. Another really huge game.
Yeah.
It's against crowd. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Josh defeats John 128-102. Like, we didn't know how much we needed a DeAndre Hopkins versus CeeDee Lamb duel until we got it, like, in real time. Like, both these guys are playing in the early games, just back and forth, touchdown, yards. It was, I've been lower on Lamb through the years. Like, I didn't see him in that top tier of receivers, or you see him on all the lists. But
yeah,
man, the issue is Dallas, not him. Like, you give him chances, you throw him balls, he just delivers.
Yeah. There's no telling what he could do with the quarterback like Will Levis.
Oh, imagine. Yeah, I don't know what to make of Will Levis. I don't understand that.
Keep going.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think the Cowboys have another guy on the offense that's above, like, replacement level. Receivers, running backs, even your boy Pollard, like Dak. Yeah. Those guys are pretty good, but I mean, Lamb is the only one that's, like, special. Yeah. They need to feed him the way that Diggs gets fed up in Buffalo. Etienne just continues to make me look foolish for doubting him. His last 4 games were 32 points, 20 points, 19, and 22. Just What a weapon. I think he's the second scariest running back right now, behind McCaffrey.
Wow.
He's terrifying.
God, it just Josh's team is so good. It just I mean, he and if any of the family members happen to watch along with him, he's got to love watching this show, because we just get on this show and just gush over Josh's team every week. But he scored the league high again this week at 139.
Man. Yeah.
And he's got a bunch
You know,
of draft picks next year. Gosh.
yeah, he's loaded at picks too.
Yeah.
The Pharisees give it a good try. They're over 102 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Lamar with his third stinker of the year. These are the kind of games from Jackson that just inevitably lead to the owner trading him. You just can't stomach very many of these. Lamar Jackson's like that super hot girl. Like she's cool and she's funny. But there's like one fatal flaw you don't notice at first, and then before you know it, like Lamar Jackson's like Amber Heard. It's like she's hot, but then the next thing you know, she's pooping in your bed. So it's like, is it worth it? Probably not. Such a disappointment to squander that many points from DeAndre Hopkins. Has that been there all season? Like he just needed Will Levis to unlock it. I don't know.
Some of those bombs that Will was throwing were just like absolutely perfectly placed in his hands. They were awesome. They were incredible.
And he was doing it against AJ Terrell, like one of the best cover corners.
Yes.
And Hopkins is such a pro. He's like knows all the ways to cheat where the refs don't see it. It's just he sets the dude up perfectly every time there's the ball. Will Levis figured it out.
Such a huge fan. Love Hopkins, love Nuke. It's a delight. It's so interesting. We are such a good pair because I never would have come up with the illustration that you came up with. Could have given me 100 years. I wouldn't have compared. I was thinking more like trick or treating with Lamar. It's either a treat and you're thrilled, or it's a trick and you're disappointed, and you don't know. And you don't know, depending on who the team they're playing against. So you think like, oh, he's got Arizona. It's going to be a great week against Arizona. Like, nope, it's not. It's going to be a trick. But then like you just don't know when you put that guy in your starting lineup. Another 100-point week, another loss, 1-7 Pharisees, similar to perhaps Carolina Panthers. If he can hold off False John for the number 1 pick, we'll see if he can have again the Caleb Williams, Bijan Robinson duo for the season. So. Man, talking about a trick that did not go well for the Karate Kid. Break it down.
Yeah, Hellhounds defeat the Karate Kids 112-84. The Hellhounds had the Karate Kids in for homecoming this week, and they treated their fans and alumni to a rare treat, a win. Homecoming's a real special time for the Hellhounds because they've got so many former players. Their homecoming is like the largest in the nation because almost every player spends some time on the Hellhounds at one time or another. And they all come back, and it's just this monstrous crowd. It's great parties. Man, Jalen Waddle woke up his best game of the season, more than his last 2 weeks combined. Jordan Addison's a monster. Yeah. Remains to be seen what's going to happen at quarterback there. Addison's got like 7 touchdowns already, though. So he's been a good play 6 out of the 8 weeks. You're talking about a rookie in his first 8 games, and 6 of the 8 have been like good fantasy starts. I mean, that's an insane start to a career. I don't know. I don't know if he can keep it up because I have no idea who's going to be quarterbacking for them. On the other side, Daniel Son, you needed the 77-point miracle on Sunday night. So I don't know if you're disappointed in Herbert's 47, 48. I mean, that's a great stat line. He almost had as many points as Joe Burrow this week. No touchdowns from any of your skill guys. It's just tough to win that way.
Yeah.
Is it on Tony Pollard? Is it Kellen Moore? Is it Zeke not around handling the dirty carries? Like what's the problem here?
Oh man, I was hoping you'd have some answers for me, having seen him live, but it doesn't look great when you're watching Red Zone and watching just the occasional Sunday, Thursday, Monday night game. Just doesn't look like he's got the holes that he needs to get any yards. The only great game he had was last week when he had that little kind of screen pass that he took for 60 yards. Other than that, it's been pretty mediocre. It was fun to have Herbert start. I think he went 12 for 12, maybe 14 for 14, something ridiculous with 2 touchdowns. And just to have this, well, this is interesting. And it made it more fun. So just a poor effort. I do have a little with scoring. Brock Purdy was horrible. Was horrible with his 3 terrible turnovers. To get 40 points was something I found very interesting. But also, I think that the Jets deserved about 40 points rather than 4. The Jets defense deserved so much more. I thought that with holding a defense, that offense to such few yards,
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't get beat by more. My first stinker of the season, my first time I haven't hovered around the 100-point mark. I think, but previously I think I was like around 98 or higher for each game. Gonna have some stinkers every once in a while. Hope it doesn't happen again next week versus Josh.
This Brock Purdy stat line, you're right to point that out. That is a good Mendenhall stat line, because that's like an old school Dante Culpepper stat line there. 3 turnovers and he still gives you 40. Like
3 turnovers, looks terrible, loses the game for his team.
Yeah.
San Francisco 49ers are like, we should have played Darnold rather than a concussed Brock Purdy, and yet,
Right.
and clears the 40-point marker on our league. So
Yeah.
Did more to
Culpepper.
hurt his team than help his team than Ty God Taylor, and scores 10 times the amount of points. So
So gross. Yeah.
oh, hey, look at this. We had our Joden
Oh,
Judy
there we go.
game of the week. Did it live up to the
Yeah.
hype? Oh,
Yeah, I think oh, look at that, man. He's looking good with that beard.
yeah, he does. Brandon
Wow.
Whiteside was at the game, a third league owner at an actual game this week. And he got to witness a victory. So
Yeah.
even though this next game may have not gone the way he liked, had to feel good to see in person his team beat CJ Stroud and the Texans.
Yeah, I wonder if you could have one or the other, would he choose the real life win for the Panthers or the Jolkin Rolkin Tolkien win? Like,
you know what? He'll answer on the message board as he continues to track our stats. Thank you, Brandon, for that. But if it were, he said on the message board, he's every single game he's gone to for the Panthers has been a loss. So it had to feel good to get a win in person with his Panthers hat on. Surprised he didn't wear your Panthers jersey that he got last year for being such a fan of the show. So it had to feel good. The Panthers coming off a bye, playing the team that picked the quarterback that they should have picked.
Yeah, the quarterbacks.
Had to feel good to get the win. But alas, a loss. And so break it down about Jay Bond going to league leading 7-1.
Yeah. Brandon put up a good fight, but Jay was just too much to handle. Jalen Hurts just continues to impress. Like every week, 4 touchdowns this week. He's had at least 2 every week since the first week. He supposedly got a bruised knee. I don't know, man. If this isn't him at full strength, like what is he going to do? Such a luxury. Joe Mixon with his best game of the year. He was looking good. Look, kind of the rising tide of the offense. I thought Mixon looked a little slower last year, but man, he's still great at grinding out those tough yards. Pass blocking, he'll make a few good catches. Donta Foreman turned back into a pumpkin, but you can't fault Jay for starting a guy that scored 30 last week. I think Christian Watson's talent is fine. I just think Jordan Love is just a turd in the punch bowl, like incapable of helping him deliver.
Ooh.
He's getting worse.
Yeah.
I'm sure Brandon's kicking himself for not starting Taysom Hill.
Yeah, you'll notice that I clipped.
Yeah, there it is.
I clipped those tight ends. Each team carried 3 tight ends this week.
Yeah,
which was interesting.
Look at Jay's.
And I maybe Brandon can let us into some of his thoughts to start Jonnu Smith after Taysom Hill. He started Taysom Hill last week and got the touchdown. This week, 2 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns for his catching tight end. And it would have brought him a victory. So I'm looking forward to maybe hearing what Brandon has to say.
I feel like Jonnu's a conservative choice. Like I get it. I mean, I get the thinking behind there. Taysom seems more fluky, but I don't know. Encouraging to see Smith and Jigba score for him, even with DK Metcalf in the game. I feel like that shows like maybe he can trust him a little bit more. McCaffrey, of course, as always, just the premier running back option. To the point, it might even be boring for Brandon at this point. Like, oh, here's another. Yeah, still just have another touchdown for McCaffrey this week.
Is it 17? 17 straight games? Is that the new stat?
I don't know the number, but it's something stupid like that. Yeah. I don't know. Tolkien's 3-game win streak comes to an end, but I think he's just still feel good about the state of his team. He's 4-4. He's right in there with everybody else, and I think he's shown he can hang with all the big players.
Yeah, he's got a great team. I'm not worried about him. It's just Jay, just up and down the board, looked awesome, and he looks like the best team in the league at 7-1, and I think he is. So Speaking of standings, you have your divisional standings here with the Eruption division being the closest division as far as from first to second. And you've got some teams there that with 8 teams making our playoffs, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Yeah. Overall standings led by the Vipers. And I also always want to point out how many more points have been scored against the Pharisees than any other team.
Oh my goodness.
You can see it's about 100 more points the Pharisees have been scored against than any other team.
They just don't play defense. That's the problem.
The Pharisees don't play defense.
Cobras play defense.
Do you want to highlight how many points have been scored against the Cobras?
We play defense. Wow. That's what we do.
That is incredible. Although Mahoney had scored his better defense than you are. Here's where our here's how close our point totals are for the season. Again, Cobras and Mahoney down here. But we'll see. We'll see. Lots of league left. Our pick'em contest continues continues to be tight. John and A2 at the very top, but lots of teams within just a handful of games.
Yeah, striking range.
It's an awesome season in the pick'em contest. The Survivor contest amazingly had the 3 remaining teams, me, you, and Josh, pick a different team for the first time that's happened all year. Yeah, and we all survived. So some pretty I'll say a scarce cupboard as you look at week 9. As I went to make my pick earlier this morning, and I thought to myself, I am not confident in any of these potential choices. So
it's getting hairy. Yeah.
It's a great game. It's a great contest. Looking forward to see what happens in week 9. Our best ball league, you can see the results here. If you're not looking at that, mostly blowouts this week. Smitty had the closest win. Our winner of the week was the Galloping Ghost, Josh Weiss. The CD Land with when you're doing a PPR, the 12 receptions with the 2 touchdowns, pretty amazing. But
and the Taysom Hill.
And the Taysom. I mean, just a great week overall for Weiss.
And his quarterback now, Kirk Cousins, is not going to be delivering anymore for him.
Right, I'll have to go back and see what the rest of his roster is like as far as quarterback depth. I didn't do that, so thank you for pointing that out. Here's our overall standings. You and I are tied for the most victory points for the best ball standings headed into the playoffs. And Pastor John's there at the bottom again, so I don't blame him for not watching the show. And let's head to week 9 preview. Aaron, kick us off with the first game before heading to the game of the week.
Yeah, here we go. Chris versus Shane, both teams 4-4, both coming off a win. Who can keep the momentum going? Mahoney lucks out a little bit with Brandon Ayuk and Jahmyr Gibbs both on bye. Coach Coward still has Josh Allen and AJ Brown to throw out there, though, so it's not like it's going to be anything easy at all. Those guys do have tough matchups, though. AJ Brown's playing Dallas. You never know what kind of havoc they can wreak. And then Josh Allen's got to play against the Bengals. They send guys to the hospital. They send guys to the morgue. I mean, you got to watch it when you play these Bengals. So
hey, I got to call timeout. We've got breaking news on the YouTube show. Right now, the Vikings acquired quarterback Josh Dobbs from the Cardinals.
Ha!
So the Vikings have acquired a quarterback. Whoa. We're not going to re-record, but I feel like this may change the fate of some teams in the league, including Carr, who has Dobbs, the Minnesota skill players.
Yeah,
so,
that's big.
A big moment. And right in front of us is San Francisco 49ers. Although for those of you watching, we're recording this on Halloween in the afternoon, so the trade deadline is a couple hours away.
Yeah.
The 49ers landed Chase Young from the Commanders.
Oh, boy, that's tough. Man.
Whoa.
He's good.
So, wow. That's so that impacts teams right away. You can continue your preview. Sorry, but it just came across the wire. I feel like we needed to break the news right now to the league. Surely they wouldn't have seen this until now. So sorry for that, but that feels like a big moment.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
for the league and for the fantasy world. So sorry for that. Let's keep going, breaking down Mahoney versus the Sweat Sox. I didn't necessarily see who you thought might start for Shane, but he does have Devonta Smith.
Yeah, he's going to plug Smith into that Ayuk spot, but the running back, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe just go with Shaheed. Maybe just roll out 3 wide receivers.
Boy, Shaheed looks really good. He might be a trick or treat kind of player too. Speaking of on Halloween, but man, he catches some bombs.
Yeah, tight end's a disaster for both teams. I don't know. Mahoney's got that tough Dak matchup against Philly. I like Chris more than I expected to, but I got to pick the Sweat Sox to carry the day here.
Oh man, this is going to be a great game. As I look down at the opportunities this week, there's lots of teams on bye, obviously.
Yeah.
So there's lots of holes for and players to fill. It just seems like it's an exciting time of the season as we've kind of turned that first half of the season towards the second half of the season, and some of the narratives that have lined up in the first 4 or 5 weeks are just gone.
Everything changes.
I mean, it's incredible. And it does seem like it's a long season. It seems like that one extra game means it feels like it's 3 extra games for some reason.
Right. Yeah.
I think the Sweat Sox are really, really good. I just don't see the skill players from Mahoney making a difference. I do think that the Buffalo-Cincinnati game on Sunday night, another night game, is a little eerie.
Yeah, that's a weird scheduling idea.
So weird.
What are you up to, NFL?
Yeah. I mean, I'm already kind of like uncomfortable thinking about watching that game on Sunday night. So, in fact, I think I have an event on Sunday night, so maybe that's a good thing. I've got it. We'll see. So I'm also going to take Josh Allen and Shane. And Gibbs gets the week off, but man, having AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, if you're gonna have a 1-2 punch,
it's too much.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take Shane too.
Too much. What about
this is the logo change we were talking about.
Yes, yeah. Jeff with 4 wins in a row. Chad coming off a loss, 5-3 Rhinos, 4-4 Rompers. We were discussing earlier that Chad's just in such a pickle with his injuries. Jeff's got Laporta on bye. Otherwise, he's full power. Assuming Mahomes gets over the flu and makes it through customs of Germany. The Rompers are just going to need so much to break their way. Like quirky things. Like I don't see how he comes out on top. Jeff's going to make this 5 in a row.
Yeah, I think so too. I do as a pastor who leads a Sunday school class, and I'm actually preaching this Sunday for All Saints Day. Always a very special Sunday of the year that John gives me the gift to preach that week. I'm actually thinking about having a watch party during my Sunday school class this week. Just like, hey, come, we're going to watch the KC Miami game. We'll catch a solid hour of it before we go into church. Because I've never watched a Sunday morning game overseas because it's not a time that I can ever watch a game.
You're busy.
It's a busy hour or two of my life. And I'm super bummed. This seems like the game of the week.
Yeah, this is the game to watch.
Yeah, and I'm not going to watch it. And I'm not going to tape it and if not figure out how my team does, go back and watch it. I mean, that's
dumb.
So I'm just bummed. I mean, I do think that the Cincy game is really interesting against Buffalo. That's a really good Sunday night game. But this is the game that I want to watch. Yeah. I just think that these 2 quarterbacks, the skill players on the teams, even some of the defenders, it's just an awesome game. And I am so bummed that it is on Sunday morning at 8, from 8:30 to 11. Like it just does
great
not
for
me.
I don't know.
Yeah, it does not fit with my schedule at all. So maybe you could do like the old days and text me after every touchdown. Can you do that for me, please? I would love that. That would be great.
Yeah, I got
every touchdown. Tell me who scores the touchdown, and that way I can be pretending to be doing the good work of the Lord while looking at my phone, trying to chart the scores. So
you're preaching, yeah.
Feels a little bit different if I'm preaching than if I'm just sitting in the front pew. But yeah, I'm taking the Rhinos too. I picked them this week. The Rompers, what a great change of their logo. Congratulations. Yeah. We'll see what happens with Josh Dobbs, Minnesota Savior. Wow.
That is what a deal. What a trade. I like that.
Amazing
like
that
teams
we got it.
Doing something.
Me too. Like make a move, try to save your season. Don't just tank.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. Let's hit the next game. he's still got Ty God Taylor and the Dude Divides versus the Vipers.
Man, yeah, Jeremy's lost 3 in a row with pretty low scores. Jay's coming in with a 5-game streak. He's leading the division. He's got the best record in the league. Coach Carr is kind of in a similar situation as Coach Long. He's got to play. Well, I don't know. Can Dobbs played there last year, right? So he knows the system.
Yeah.
So he could just step right in. Okay, so he's got to start Dobbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I expect Puka to bounce back. Dallas just throttled that offense up. Keenan Allen's got that tough matchup against Sauce Gardner. Allen has been really the second best receiver points wise, but boy, they got a tough matchup this time.
Against
Sauce. I feel like Jay's wide receivers are iffy. Even with Ridley on the bye, like they're extra iffy. I think Jay wins this, but I think it is a kind of a low scoring game.
Yeah, I can't pick the Dude Abides because of the quarterback situation. You would think that Dobbs would jump on a plane today, Tuesday, and be the starter on Sunday.
Baker did it last year, right?
Yeah, in that Rams game, which was awesome. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it's just too many question marks there. I do like the Dude Abides. Skill players, just like you said, they've just kind of dipped a little bit the last couple of weeks. But that quarterback position and just the hex that Deshaun Watson has put on this Packers team for 2 full seasons now. I mean, it just seems like until he gets rid of Deshaun Watson, I'm always curious, like if he were to cut Deshaun, like how much would he go for on the waiver wire? And would the team that picked him up be like happy, or would they be like, oh no,
what have I done?
What have I done to my team?
Yeah.
So
I think he's like on the Brady bench. There was that Tiki idol that they got in Hawaii. Like I think maybe that's Deshaun Watson. He's Tiki idol.
I love
Taboo.
That
Taboo. Yeah.
Love that episode. Okay. I think I may have gotten the wrong. I think we're missing a game here.
Well, you skipped me. I was supposed to be after Chris and Shane.
Okay. I think that I'm gonna stop my share and fix that while you give us a little pause here because I don't have your game up. I somehow did not include it, so I'm gonna.
Well, we can just have us. We can just talk about it. It doesn't matter.
By the time you get done talking about the games, I will put that up on the screen for us. I'll make it work. So break it down for you versus John.
Yeah, Cobras versus the Pharisees. Both teams coming off a loss, looking to rebound. Like, man, if I lose this one, it's time to just pack it in and call it a season. Like, there's 6 games left. Like, if there's a move to be made, it has to happen now. Like, Burrow and Chase have the Bills to contend with. They seem to have their way with them, so I don't want to get cocky on there, but boy, the Bills defense has just gone way down since Matt Milano's out, Tre'Davious White. Like, I think the Bengals are going to roll. I don't sweat John at a single position. It's time to sweep the leg. Cobras with the win.
So you're saying you're saying that you're going to pack it in if you lose this week. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
I don't think I will because maybe at some point it's just what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like where are the wins?
Yeah, this is a really boring pick'em show because I also picked the Cobras to beat the Pharisees with their 1 win. I do think that there's a lot of crummy teams playing crummy teams, and there's a lot of good teams playing good teams. We've already talked about
that'll be good for some sorting.
We've talked a lot about KC, Miami, but then this Seattle-Baltimore game is another great game. I think Seattle's good. I think Baltimore's good. I'm looking forward to seeing how Lamar will do against Seattle. But yeah, I'm taking the Cobras. At some point we need to find a game that we've picked. I think we picked up similarly almost all the way across the board. But that'll bring us to the game of the week. And the game of the week this week. Oh man, our sponsor. So exciting. It was really neat. Reached out to me this week. It was this little restaurant.
Oh wow.
On Memorial Road called Applewoods, and in particular, the apple fritters at Applewoods.
We are being that fritter, baby.
Yeah, we're being sponsored by the fritters from Applewoods. So,
oh man,
if any of you have this Matchbox, of Applewoods, it can go for dozens of dollars on eBay because this is an absolute a jewel of an item. So big shout out.
What a treasure.
Thank you to Applewoods, specifically the apple fritters from Applewoods on Memorial Road in Oklahoma City. Thank you for sponsoring the segment for the game of the week. And the game of the week is 2 6-2 teams. One of these teams is going to be 7-2 headed into week 10.
I hate how you rig this so you get to be featured in so many games of the week. Like you're like the coach dad that plays his own kid over the other kids. It's disgraceful, Jason. Look, all right. Ghost coming off the win. Danielson with a loss last week, but both teams 6-2. Both teams leading their division. I mean, this is a big time matchup here.
Yeah.
The quarterback matchup's fun because both guys are capable of just great big scores. Same draft class. Herbert's got that tough matchup versus the Jets, though. -9 passing yards. I don't even know how that's possible. I do expect Herbert to exceed -9 yards, but it is a tough matchup. I'm going to give the quarterback edge to Weiss, though. Massive tight end edge to the Karate Kids, as always. Wide receiver matchup, I think, is the most fun because you got CD and you got Diggs, like both guys capable of just these monster games. And then your wide receiver twos, like they could go for 150 or they could go for 15. Like neither one's going to be that shocking. So that's very fun. I'm going to call that a wash at wide receiver. Etienne is on bye, so you were really dodging a bullet there. I like Kenneth Walker more than any other running back in the game since Etienne's out. Walker's the only real distance maker amongst the sea of just like maybe guys.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be doing color commentary for this game this week with Brandon Godden, so I'm not available to make a pick on the game.
Okay, I love it. Thanks, Kirk. I appreciate Herb Street staying out of it.
I just said that because I think the Karate Kids are going to win, and I just don't want to pick you. I just don't. I don't want to do it. I'm tired of it.
Well, I got to pick the Karate Kid, but you also mentioned the Ghosts. Not only do they not, they have got one significant player on bye in ETN, also have Amon-Ra St. Brown out, who has been so good and so consistent. To do catch Josh on a really good week, to catch him. Pollard has a really tough matchup against Philly at Philly. I don't think that I would sit him to start the Gus bus and Gus Edwards, but man, he looks like my running back the last 2 weeks. He looks great. It's kind of like, I'm never going to start him, but you're like, well, maybe should I start him? So we'll see how that goes. It's nice to have 4 running backs that are decent. I like the Karate Kid to go to 7-2. Which brings us
for Brandon's sake, I'm taking you two.
We may have picked the same team on every game, which we've never done before, which is very disappointing. But I've tried to not switch around so much because when I've done that, I usually just lose. But I'm really glad that I am not someone who gambles a lot because it seems like I'm always wrong. I just continue to get the NFL wrong. Games continue to just surprise me. And sometimes I'm just shocked at some of the results. So that's why we do this this week. Some great football games this week so on the field and in the SoonerNation League. So thanks for watching.
Been a pleasure.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. See you, man.